Attention gamers. I've recently become entirely too addicted to the crusade that's burning as just weeks, and I have a mage that's almost full phase 1 bis. A second 70 who apparently can't film B-roll without some dipshit shaman ruining the shot, and plans for a third, and my long lost hunter coming soon, and I've loved it. Made some of my favorite videos on my channel for it, and got an entire population of players begging me for the name of a song that literally doesn't exist, as I just took a Wingstop commercial.
Pepper, all flats.
Lemon, pepper, wings.
Tastes so good.
Wingstop lemon pepper all flats for Lake?
And mashed 5 seconds of its audio together 30 times to sound like a song. But anyways, I'm learning that like a professional webcam beggar, you have to lean into the hype train, and currently that is headed to a new retail expansion, Midnight. Now, as a classic WoW enthusiast, when I hear the saying nothing good ever happens after midnight, I think to myself, nothing ever good happened after Legion if we're being honest. But I still reached out to my contact at Blizzard and said, hey, how about a sponsor, and I'll make a video seeing if I can convert some of your classic Andes into retail Randys, and they flat out don't walled me. But for some reason, watching this dude break down tier lists on classes still had me interested in trying. So now you are gonna get the most brutally honest review of my first retail experience. A video that ends when I quit and go back to classic. Right off the bat, Champ Select has me pissed off, as humans look like they have botched facelifts, which I guess is an appropriate representation of the DLCs going on in the real world. And then you have your standard Disneyed up races that I'm tracking all the way down to Panda, and then we are hit with some Jar Jar Binks with wings looking shit out of nowhere. This is also where I only assume in the X-Pack progression Blizzard started laying off devs and stopped trying, because all of these races are just reskins of other races. You have albino blood elves, albino Draenei, then 3 versions of dwarfs, diabetic humans, and amputee survivor gnomes, and immediately I'm thinking, if I just roll a dwarf hunter it would be a disrespectful sequel to Rav the Avatar's Legacy, like when Suits tried to create Suits LA, and it was something I had to apologize to my eyeballs for watching afterwards, and thus I settled on playing this Puff the Magic Dragon for a full new experience. I originally tried to make a badass looking character, and then at the last minute I changed it all up to rock a look inspired by the goat himself. Anyways, the first hour of my retail experience consisted of my trying to make my screen look like what I'm used to, only for me to end up settling for a worse version of my setup. As if I'm being honest, it just became frustrating and I just wanted to play the game.
All my shit is so cooked. I'm done with add-ons. I'm done with add-ons. No, I hate it. I hate it so much. But I still have it on my screen? What is this?
Then call me stupid, but I always thought massive multiplayer online meant that it was massive amounts of players in a world that felt alive with people at every turn, a starting zone that feels like a party, only to be met with what feels like a single-player Xbox game from 2012 where you follow a very strict one-dimensional path forward, where it's just dialogue simulator, almost like I'm playing a version of Doku Doku Literature Club with less options.
I've seen you checking my ass in class, you know? Yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry about it. I actually don't mind it. It even takes my mind off my usual suicidal thoughts.
My first few fights were flat out one-shots, as if I was playing on a fully geared tune, which I guess made sense considering I was just being handed blue items on my first quest. 15 minutes in, I was contemplating my life's choices on this balcony, still trying to fix a few settings that were pissing me off, when I was hit with a breath of fresh air.
Hey, listen!
Another player. This isn't a single-player game after all, and I just needed human interaction. Anyways, I reached the point in the starting zone where a few other players were also thinking about going back to Classic.
I'll play more. I just want to wait until the level 90 boost comes.
But here's where I got my first dank new retail ability. The only problem is in the quest I'm supposed to be able to click this butt plug to refresh its cooldown, and I'm either a moron or I already found a bug 20 minutes into the game. Anyways, I leveled up for the first time, so it only makes sense for me to have rightfully earned the character progression and maturity to unlock flying mounts, which is ironic because one level later when I unlocked epic mounts I thought, who the hell is using this antiquated mode of transportation when I can just do this? Bam, level 13. I'm rocking a set of pre-raid bis looking blues from playing Dialogue Simulator. I've unlocked talents which actually seem dank, like I can PoE some sick ass theory crafted builds for different situations, and I was excited to feel the power of my new abilities. Only to be thrown into an overstimulating war where I think I could have just AFK'd through and it would have finished without me. The final boss landed and I was gonna go fight him until I realized nope, they are good, apparently job is done. Cue up cinematic numero 14. I'm lost as shit. I really should have watched that enthusiastic Blood Elf Spark Notes breakdown before this, but right now I couldn't be bothered. This took me to Stormwind and I was so refreshed to see some level of familiarity, as they said okay Puff, the magic dragons aren't familiar with our main hub, so I had to do a self-guided tour of this city that felt just as alive as it does in Classic in terms of other players in it, where the very first and most important stop was to find what I can only assume is the microtransaction currency vendor #priorities. At this point I was struggling with what I'm gonna call story fatigue, as every NPC has some main character story that they want to bore me to death with for 5 minutes as we go for walks, as I was starting to see why they want to strip the word Warcraft out of the name of this game when I've done way more talking and walking than I've done fighting. I thought it was time for Westfall, but apparently it was time for Dragonflight, and at this point I remembered that the tier lists were around raids and dungeons, so I thought maybe questing and leveling just isn't the point of retail, so I decided to pivot my strategy towards the focus of retail. I get into what looks like a group that already lost their first healer, and once I figured out that the days of dead mines and wailing caverns are well behind us, I met up with my group, who at the start I was convinced were not real people, as I was the healer and this was the breakdown of damage. Psych, I later realized that my ego was inflated and I just needed to turn it to current segment where I was still embarrassing these children. We get to a boss a minute later and I'm still diffing the world in damage until the boss does this. Yeah, at first I'm thinking what kind of savant insane healer is able to keep a group alive during that, only upon a later very petty inspection I learned that this is a mechanic that needs to be interrupted, as healing through it is not possible, but that is not where the focus was.
Where are the heals? Our healer is ass!
I quickly fell back to my vast League of Legends experience, aka asking these morons who blatantly ignored the mechanic while collectively doing less DPS than their healer if they are even pushing any buttons on their keyboard.
Bruh.
I lasted 4 minutes in there and was given a 30-minute timeout, which was just about all I needed to remember that I needed to go do something else. Stay tuned to find out if this epic retail journey turns into me becoming a top-rated Mythic Plus rating Chad, or if I promptly ran back to TBC, or if I fell into League, and let me know what you are secretly hoping for what comes next.